What's up guys, it's me, Justin Kahn, and today before we get into our video, I wanted to give you an update. We are doing a brand new drop of a new batch of NFTs. They're all one-of-ones for all of the videos I've released since my last drop, which was several months ago. So I think we have 9 total, and they're going live. Well, they've actually already gone live a couple days ago. So if you're seeing this video, they're live. You can go check them out on OpenSea. We're going to drop the link in the description. And their bidding is going to be open for a week, and then we're going to do another shareholder, and then we're going to do another call for all of the NFT holders. And so you'll get a chance, if you're holding an NFT, we're going to drop a link so that everybody who's a current NFT holder will be invited to a call with me, and I can get more feedback on the channel, what you like, what you don't like, et cetera, meet you guys. I've been having a lot of fun with this YouTube channel. I love it. People ask me why I'm doing it all the time. And, I just say because I have fun with it, and I get amazing feedback from all of you out of there. I'm so appreciative. If you've listened, if you dropped a comment, if you dropped a like, except for all of you who say that I have a big zit on my lip, all of the rest of you, I really appreciate you. All right. I will see you guys, and here's the video. All right, what's up guys? It's me, Justin Kahn, your favorite founder's favorite founder. And today I'm gonna talk to you about anxiety and depression. People are often very surprised when I say that I've experienced anxiety, depression, that I've had moments in time in my companies, my career where I just didn't want to get out of bed. It's really easy to look at how people are doing now and say, oh, they have a perfect life. Everything's going well for them. But the window that people see through social media, through YouTube, through Instagram, that's like 1%. And there's 99% in every person's life that contains the whole range of human experiences. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are hard, some of them are easy. There's joy, there's sadness, there's pain, sorrow, suffering, victories, accomplishments, guilt, pleasure, the whole range of emotions and experiences that make up a human life. And just because you're successful, just because you're rich, just because you've made it, you've gotten a certain title, you're the CEO, you don't get to escape from that. That's the package deal. That's part of being a human being. And back in 2013, I had a failing company. Yes, another one. And it was tough. It was called Exec. Exec had started off as a errand running service, kind of like Uber meets TaskRabbit. So you could press a button on your phone and someone would do any errand that you wanted to do. And that didn't work for a number of reasons. I can get into that later or in a different video. It didn't work. And so we ended up pivoting it to a cleaning service. And side note, services are terrible businesses. Never, never, never start a service business unless you have no other options or you just love doing that service. So we started the service business and it wasn't working. This is gonna sound familiar, very similar to another story, but it wasn't working. And I felt so guilty about it because I had promised all my investors, my employees, I had promised them all that I was going to build this huge company, this $1 trillion company. What's the, this massive company. And so I just got this malaise, this kind of fog spread over me. I was like, every day when I was getting up, like things weren't working in the startup. So every day it just felt like things are not working. And the more it felt like that, the harder it was to get up. And it was kind of like this downward spiral. And I remember in the mornings, I'd feel like, oh my God, I was like sad to be awake. I wish that I had continued sleeping. And it got to the point where I just didn't want to get out of bed. Everything that was happening seemed like it was going wrong. Our customer base wasn't growing enough. Our competitors were doing better. The margins were terrible. Very common theme. And so, then even compounding that was that my brother and one of our other friends from childhood were my co-founders. So I not only felt like I let all these other people down, but I have felt that I'd let my brother down as well. In addition to that, our employees were quitting. Some of the employees that I really loved and loved working with quit to start a startup. There was just attrition. You could kind of tell, like they could tell the company wasn't working, wasn't going anywhere. And I felt like my reputation was on the line. We'd raised over $3.7 million for this company. And it was like, this is it. If I don't do this, everything's over for me. It's almost like the curtain would be pulled back and people would see me as the fraud that I felt like I was at that moment. Back then, I was not good at dealing with difficult emotions. So my whole life I'd run from emotions like sorrow, guilt, sadness, anxiety. And if I felt those emotions, I would try to do anything to stop feeling them. So that anything took many different forms. For example, I would drink heavily. I think that drinking was something that I picked up pretty early on as a way to dampen anxiety, especially in social situations. If I was going out, wanted to talk to people, but I wasn't really comfortable with that because I was a shy kid, I'd drink a lot and then I'd feel great. After a few drinks, it was like, boom, a motherfucking Superman. Then I discovered drinking when I felt bad. When I felt anxious or like things weren't going well, I just drank whenever I felt bad about what was going on in the startup, which was like most days, I'd just like get home, start drinking. I remember this moment where our star engineer quit to start a startup. And when he told me, I went with my brother and we like went and sat down at a bar and like I got some drinks. And I'm just like, what do we do? Like, this is not working. We can't retain talent. And he agreed with me. And then I went home and I drank an entire fifth of Jameson by myself and was just rolling on the floor crying like incomprehensible when my wife got home. Not my proudest moment. But even without drinking, I was still doing a lot to dampen the experience of difficult emotions. Sometimes when things were bad, I would just watch an entire season of Netflix in one night, right? I'd just distract myself with media, or, I'd be doom scrolling Twitter, or I'd like need to go on a trip, or whatever it was. I just needed to get out of my experience and do anything to distract me from that difficult experience. And what I didn't know was that difficult emotions like anxiety, like guilt, like the guilt that I was feeling about not living up to what I thought I had promised, like sorrow over losing the opportunity to work with people that I really liked. Those emotions are part of the human experience. If you suppress them, if you try to suppress them by drowning them out, by drinking, by distracting yourself, by pushing them down, they're just going to become a mood and they'll be with you more and more often. And if you let them pass naturally, you feel them in your body and you let them bubble up and experience them, and then they'll pass. The hormones in your brain that produce emotions aren't designed to stay around for extended periods of time. Emotions themselves are just a signal. If we're sad, it tells us that something in the past went wrong. If we're angry, it says, hey, something's going wrong right now and we need to do something about it. It's our amygdala triggering that fight or flight response. And if we have anxiety, it says, hey, something might go wrong in the future. We should be paying attention to that now. I didn't realize it at the time, but my subconscious was telling me that there were things that I needed to do to change the situation because it wasn't working. And instead of listening to that signal, I ignored it to my own detriment. So how did I get out of it? Well, for years, my mom had been telling me, hey, you should go see a therapist. She's just a general believer in therapy. Now she's a MFT, marriage and family therapist. But she was telling me to go see a therapist. And finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And I went and I looked for therapists that were walking distance from my office. Tried a couple different ones, found someone who was a good fit for me. That was what's a good fit for each person is different. And I started going in the afternoons, once or twice a week, and just talking about my experience. It wasn't like there was a moment where things changed, but just having someone to listen to my experience and that could reflect back what I was experiencing to me was really powerful. She also taught me this mindfulness technique of really noticing where in my body the emotion is and being able to just sit with it and be present instead of trying to run away from it and say, oh, I feel guilty. Where is that guilt in my body? And it feels like a pit in my stomach. Oh, that's interesting. What is that like? And really just being there. And then if I held being present with it for a moment, then it would dissipate. Later on in life, I really learned and dug into meditation and really practicing being present with my experience, whatever it was, whether it was thoughts, feeling emotions, or even just the physiological sensations of being alive. And I found that helped me sit with all sorts of difficult situations. Things that were really deeply uncomfortable for me before, stuff that I had always been avoidant of in my life and career, like difficult conversations, firing someone, having a tough talk with a friend. I was very avoidant of that stuff, and meditation really helped me build a muscle to be present and not be avoidant with experiences like that. And lastly, exercise, super important. Really just building that foundation of I'm going to exercise, release endorphins in the brain every day. If I do it in the morning, I know I'm set up to have a good day the rest of the day. And so when you're depressed, it can seem like an insurmountable task to go work out, right? So for me, a lot of it was just, what's the minimum bar? Can I just go on a walk? every morning. I'm just going to go on a couple block walk and, obviously building from there. So like making that minimum bar super low, I think really helped me build that practice, build that habit to get started with something every day. So what was the outcome? Well, for me, I had this vision in my mind when I was failing that everything was falling apart and it was going to be the end of the world. And the reality was that it wasn't a great outcome. We ended up selling the company when it did make money, but it wasn't for what we promised or what we had sold to investors. But we ended up selling the company and everybody moved on. People got jobs, other jobs, better jobs. My brother went on to start Cruise, self-driving car company, and became very successful in his own right after that. I went on to do other things, become an investor at YC. And so life went on and it was fine. If the startup had never failed, I would never have joined YC as a partner, which is really what opened up the world of investing to me and has created a career that I found very fulfilling. So you never know how it's going to work out. Things that you think are a huge deal in one direction today may be the thing that launches you on the path that you're ultimately supposed to be on. And I know that sounds easy for me to say and hard. If you're going through something hard, it may be hard for you to hear. But just know that detaching your expectations of your life from outcomes, it's a lifelong process. It's something you could be working on your entire life. I've been working on my entire life. And it's not something that happens overnight. And that's okay too. At the end of the day, I think happiness is about cultivating the faith that the universe is here to serve you. That even though you're going through a difficult experience at this moment, there's something to learn from it. There's something that may benefit you down the road. You don't know what it is yet, and that's why it's faith. Anxiety and depression is very common, and the first thing that you should know is really that it's something that everyone out there experiences some of the time. You're not alone. I've experienced it. All the people who I know who are successful, rich, famous, they've all experienced it in one way or another. It's why I wanted to create the Quest podcast, is to highlight some of those stories from people who have been uber successful. It's part of the human experience. All right, if you're going through a tough time, I wish you the best of luck.